Okay, so everything is on. I'm going to set the rear lights. Okay, they're all ready for green. They'll blink. So now when I turn them on, they're going to be flashing. That's strobe. And we'll turn them off. Reset them to on off. So it'll be red. And we'll save that right there. Everything's good. Okay, so I'm trying to install this switch panel by MICTUNING, and this is your cable from your hot to the box. So it's pretty short. You can only go so far from your cable, your hot cable. And there's not really any good mounting spots here. I can't mount it to this lid because somehow the bracket where that clips in is broke. So I don't want to mount nothing to that because it might come loose. The only thing I've come up with so far is the battery strap that holds this in, and bolt it. Take it loose down there. See if I can get that in the shot. Right. If I made a bracket, I could fit it right there, which would be ideal. Okay, so I finally think I figured out a way to mount this thing. Now, in the kit, it came with this bracket, and then it came with a flat bracket. Now, this ain't real pretty. I ain't painted it, touched anything up. I just fitting it. I cut that flat bracket in half, welded it to the flanges on this other bracket. I'll paint it up here in a little bit. And then I took the nuts that hold this. This is a bracket down here, a metal bracket. It clips in on this side, and then it screws down here, and then there's bolts that come up to hold this box on. So I took those nuts off, and now I can take this bracket and slide it down. Now this is the ground side here, so I guess I should explain this. This is ground. I think there are some hot wires here, and you don't want to touch nothing. And when you're doing this, disconnect your hot battery, but you don't want to touch nothing. So this will now fit. It'll straddle that box, and it fits right there. And I cut out a little bit here. I was afraid it was touching that, but it doesn't. And then I'm going to take these nuts and put back on these studs, and then I can lay the box on here like so. Let's put it this way. Probably back on that one there, and it'll mount just like that. So it should be a pretty good mount, and it's not touching anything, not even down there. You just have to take this box off with this bolt and this bolt to remove this bracket. You know, once you take this off, you can reach these nuts to pull this off to take care of battery stuff. It's the only solution I could come up with, but I don't mind spending a little extra time taking stuff off if I have to get the battery replaced or whatever. If I have to take to shop, I probably have to take this off and then take it to the shop, you know, that way they don't have to deal with that. But I'm gonna go ahead and mount this and see what it looks like. See how hard it's gonna be to get these nuts in there without dropping anything. Okay, we got that started. Gotta do the same thing here, put a finger underneath. I got that one started. See if I can get a socket. Okay, good tight. That's good tight. Oh yeah, that's solid. That's good and tight. Oh yeah, that's solid. Let me get y'all. Okay, so you can see I've got these nuts on there. It's still holding that box down. The nuts are back on there. This is solid. It actually pulled it up away from that, so there's nothing touching there. Nothing's touching down in there. You know, you just don't want no kind of connection with any kind of wires. So, same 10 millimeter. We're going to take this ground off. Leave it here. Look at tight. Still tight. You got them out. Weak fingers. Now some of this stuff I might speed up when I put the video together. I don't know. Yeah, tight. Hope it goes on easier. I definitely won't leave this. There we go. Now we're going to slide this ground wire on. Make sure the other end ain't touching nothing. Man, that's tight. Now we're going to slide this ground wire on. Make sure the other end ain't touching nothing. So if y'all are putting one of these in a compass, let's see how that bracket fits with that cable. Oh yeah, it's fine. Oh, so the box might hang over a little bit, so I think we're going to be fine just like that. Tighten this up. Make sure that cable's on there good. Good snug fit here. Alright, so this is the bag of hardware. Looks like you need a Phillips screwdriver. I'm not sure what size the nuts are yet. Not sure how hard it's going to be to mount this yet. Let's use this foot cup. Dump the hardware in. So I'm thinking, here's our box. Let's take this lid off. It might be a little bit easier to work with. That's about yay thick. I'm thinking it's these Allen head. We got two of them, so we also got two of these though. I'm thinking I want to go to these bigger ones. Okay. So this was the clip. Clip goes to the front. I want it facing forward, just like that. So that means this thumb clip has to go front. Let's get this out of the way for now. I think that right there is the best mounting position. take one of these, and then we'll take a washer. We'll take one of these nuts and a washer. And we're going to try to get it started underneath there. It's kind of tight. You know what would be the smart thing to do? Weld the nuts to the bottom of the bracket. Okay, so I got the bolt and nut washer on this side, got it tight. I dropped the nut on this side and there was no extras. So for now, I just double zip tied it, which I kind of like the idea of this because you don't have to worry about the nut vibrating loose. So I may just leave it like that. If you need to take it off, you just cut them and keep a couple spare with you. But that nut fell down in there. I'm gonna have to get the water hose and see if I can't wash it out. But it's mounted and it's nice and stout. So the next thing we're gonna do is hook the ground wire up to right there. So the ground wire is already connected to the battery. It looks like I can come under my control panel and keep all the access up under there too. And then there's a big minus with a circle that says the minus goes right here. Don't want to drop that down there, we'll never get it. Now, before I tighten this all the way, I need to look at this lid and make sure. Yeah, that's right. That'd be good. There's an opening for this cable to fit in. Now the hot wire will mount here. Now we'll take this hot wire, slide it over. Don't touch nothing with the other end of this wire. Just like that. That's that. So I've got the ground hooked up to the box. I've got the hot wire hooked up to the battery, and then from the battery it hooks up to this 60 amp breaker, and it says battery side and auxiliary side. So it's going to go on this side here. So I still haven't figured out for sure where I'm going to mount this breaker. But I'm going to hook the wires up, and they'll give me an idea how much room I have. I may just zip tie it to something. So that's going to go to the, I'll tell you what, let's put the cover on for now. Then I can lay that down right there. Put the washer on, and then the locking nut. I believe it's 10 millimeter. Now I may have to loosen this up and move that wire around a little bit. I'm not sure. That's too tight. And then we have another cable that will go to the auxiliary. So we'll take this nut off. There just isn't an awful lot of room in this compass on this side where the battery's at to mount everything. Now on that other side I had found a place I could have mounted it really easy. Alright, now you don't want to touch nothing with this other cable end because this is now hot. So we're just going to finger tighten this one for now or it won't come off. I'm going to take the cover back off here. And then we're going to go ahead and mount this cable to the box, making sure we ain't touching nothing with the other ends of the cable. Now you could just disconnect your battery cable and avoid worrying about it, but we want this one, I want that one straight back. That's tight. Now we have, I'm actually going to have to loosen this one too because I need to figure out where I'm going to position this. And these cables can kind of put it in a bind. So if you loosen it where they can twist, you can move it around a little easier. See? Now, I could put this over here on this box lid. One thing I never do zip tie that to right there. Now I may find another place to mount this eventually, but for now I'm hoping this will work. Because that's not going nowhere. Right, it's got these little covers that go over the little bolts. This may have to move. I locked it straight out, but it ain't gonna work straight out. Not right now, anyway. Yeah. Maybe I can move that down. There we go. I think I can get that on here. Oh, let's see. That wants to be straight out. I lost this again. Let's go ahead and tighten them up. I think I'm about where they need to go. I think that one go just like that. Pretty sure this one is going to have to come out like this to get the cover on. Rubber boot on. I'll throw all in hell's way. Now let's see if we can get this plastic cover on. Oh, the zip ties in the way. The zip ties in the way. Since I use zip ties on that, I cut slots hopefully to clear the zip ties. And these little rubber things kind of a pain. This on there. Now let's tighten up this cable. All right. So the fusible length they sent me is a bigger fuse type than what is in here. See if I've got one. I think it's that size right there. This is my old fusible one here. And these fuses have been running what I've got on there. With no problems. So I'm just gonna try to check them and put them back in. If I have to go up a fuse size, I always can. there's my fusible link that I'll use for that, which is switched. So when the switch is off, it ain't on. I want it to go right through there. Okay. That's it. That should fit that like that. That's my fusible link. Uh-oh. There. Okay. So that's right there. I can access it. So this fusible link is the one that came with the kit. It's a bigger fuse than what my fuse box is. There's the prongs are further apart. Okay, now that we got all that done, this is your AC. We're going to go to AC now. Let's see, AC mode is, battery mode's this way, AC mode's that way. We got quite a bit of wire here that we're not going to need, but I'm not going to cut it. Get that good and tight. I'll put some tape on that later. Alright, now this will plug in to this plug right here for your switched. Now what I'm going to do, I'm going to leave that excess because I need to tape that up. And I'm going to wire this up a little bit like this because I don't need all this wire. And I got a zip tie. But here's what I have right now, okay? From the battery hot with the cable provided to the 60 amp relay that they provide to the next hot cable that they provide to the hot terminal of the box. And on this one, I'm coming from the ground post on the battery. Mine goes up under this box and case, and then it goes to the negative. You see how this is positive? This one's underneath the cable, but that was a minus sign. And then from a switch in my fuse box that I found, they give the fusible link, and then they give this wire here that plugs into the box. And you saw me mount it. I'll tape that up later. Plugged it in, and this switch here, you can see you have battery mode and AC mode. That's battery mode. That's AC mode. So when I turn the key switch on, that light will light up. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and put the cover on because I can't plug this in until I get it ran through the firewall. So I'm going to loosen this out some. I want some excess in there. And we're just going to put this down in here. Like that. Have some excess so I can tape that up later. There we go. So I have everything hooked up here. I've got the hot wire going to the same ground as this cable's going to, and then I have that's to the lights, and then this is the ground to the lights going to the same ground as the big ground cable right here. And then you can see where these were the wires that went to the switch, and they just here. If I can get it off there, it kind of went up. Okay, so these are the wires that go to the switch. They just screw up in here. Now on this is my light bar, and I need to extend the wires and make it where I can get these tucked back in around with these. But anyway, this is just to make sure everything works. Like I said, the hot wire goes to the hot post, and the ground wire goes to the ground post. And then these two here was the switch wire. The white goes to the red positive up in there. We have a Phillips screwdriver that loosens these. It actually comes with a screwdriver in the kit. And then your negative goes there. Now my reverse lights, I ground the lights to the vehicle, and the only wire I have here, and basically it's the white wire, but I had two wires, so I just twisted them together, a little heavier wire running back there. So basically this is one wire, and I'm not using the ground because it's ground to the body of the vehicle, and this works. And basically this is hooked up other than rerouting some wires later. And the thing I need to do now is I have to run my controller that plugs in right here through the firewall. And on the compass, I've been running through a plug. Let me show you if I can. You have to excuse the Jeep. I haven't cleaned it in a while. I plan on doing that today. There's a plug right back up in here, and it comes down. I pull this panel off, and there's another plug on this side, rubber plug, and there's a rubber plug there. And I just go through that plug, through the door, and back to the hatch, hiding wires with the body panels. And then the switch, I'm gonna go that away into the other side of the driver's compartment. Now, I wasn't gonna show you this, but that's where I had the lights hooked up to those toggles. I'm going to clean that tape off, and I'm going to pull those buttons out, and I'm going to 3D print some plugs the same color as that material and plug those up so there'll be no hose showing there. But at the time, that was really the only place I could find to put in kind of toggles that had space behind it where the switch could stick out, and I got hose in my dash. So the toggles are a thing of the past. So, you know, you got this is just the simplest thing you can do. And this one, you know, I can run 8 accessories off of it, versus you got that only runs 2, and the toggle or the button panel that comes with this isn't going to take up much more space than those 2 switches. But I'm going to run them on the other side. We'll show you where I put it and all that, but I'm not going to record me running wires through here, because I mean, all vehicles are different. You're just going to have to figure out the best way to get your wires from the engine compartment to wherever you're locating your panel. So I'll get with you after I get it pretty much set up. Okay, so I'm going to mount this control panel right there. You can actually see the buttons when you're sitting in the seat. It's not in the way of your legs because this is so slim. I'm going to use the flat bracket. It also comes with a bracket that you can pivot it around, but it sticks up a little more. If you notice, this is countersunk hole. So when you mount this, I'm trying to make sure y'all have light, but when you mount that, these little screws will be countersunk and it'll be a flat finish. We're going to use the screwdriver that came with the switch panel kit. At first I thought I was going to Velcro it. This is an aluminum housing, so it's got a little bit of heft to it. It's not plastic. This thing is well made. So we're just going to go ahead and screw into the plastic, and we'll just have a couple holes in the plastic. But we plan on, as far as we know, keeping this compass for a very long time. And this will always be there. If we want to add more accessories later down the road, we can, because we have, this is an 8 gang, and so far we have, let's turn it on, 2 of them used. Alright, so that's on there. You see it lit up. That'll be right there. Now so far I have a light bar and a rear backup lights on my roof rack. And I put the position for the light bar all the way up front right there. The light bar would be on right now. Alright, now for the part some people may not want to do. I don't care myself, but if you don't want to drill holes in your plastic, you know, you might could try some gold back tape or some Velcro, but we want this mounted permanent. I want it right there. Just following the line of my console, and this kind of goes this way, so it gives a pivot toward the driver so you can see it. And there it is. Tuck that cable up in there a little more, try to get it straight down, and that's mounted. Now I need to get my stickers and clean these buttons and put the roof, the light bar there. Okay, I'm going to try to stay out of y'all's way so you can see. We need to clean off those 2 panels. Actually, I may go ahead and put stickers on all of them because I kind of know what I would add if I was going to add anything. We're just going to get the dust off of the stuff, a little alcohol. Let that evaporate. Now the front light here, we got so many to choose from. I know it's dark in here for y'all to see, but we need the, see, light bar right there. And on the light. So light bar should just peel off. Try not to touch too much of the sticky. Now there's a raised lip on the edge of that, so I'm going to go up to that and kind of use it for a guide. Oh, got it crooked. There we go, it's in there now. Okay, now the next one here is going to be rear lights. And I'm just going to probably call them rear lights. Because I use them backing up, but at the same time I use them for other stuff too, so I don't want to call them backup lights. So we're just going to put rear on there, which is right here. And there's so many choices depending on what you're running. You can just put whatever you want on there that's best for you. I drank too much coffee this morning. Here's that one. And notice, you don't even have to turn the power button on. If you want to turn your light bar on, that light bar should be on right now. Yep, it's on. So I'm just going to pick some of these others out so I don't have a bunch of blank spots. There they are, on, all them's on. So you could turn your light bar on, turn it off there, decide you want it back on, and it's on, just by getting that one button, and remember. So there's your panel installed. Plenty of more stickers left to choose from, so I need to change something up. Okay, so I'm sitting in the Jeep, sun shining through the window there, and you can see the panel down there by my leg. There's my foot on the gas pedal. So it's not, even with my knee touching this, it's not in the way. And if I need to turn something on, I can see it. So I mean, it's no problem reaching it and turning stuff on and off. So that worked out really nice. Now you have options. You could mount that up on the dash. You could mount it on your panel over here. I mean, it really depends on your vehicle. In my opinion, down there is the best place to mount it, but you have options depending on your vehicle. You could also run your wires and stick it up here on the headliner if you wanted. You could have stuck it, I could have stuck it right here, but that's out of the way. It's like it ain't even there and I can see it, so that's perfect. Okay, I want to show y'all how these buttons work. That turns everything on. And you can see that the backlight is on. Now if you want to turn that backlight off, you push that power button for 3 seconds and it'll turn everything off. But you still have power. Power on. Now, right now I only have the light bar and this rear lights on the Jeep. So you can hit this mode button. So I want to make the backlights blink. I'm going to hold this mode button until it turns red. And then I'm going to push until I get green. Green will be flashing. And then I'll hold mode and it should be set. Now when I go to the rear, it's green, which means they should be flashing. So let's go to the back of the vehicle. You can see that they are flashing. So I don't want those flashing. So we're going to go back to mode and we're going to take that to red where it's just on off and save it. Now they'll just be on steady because the color is red. Okay, yeah, blue is momentary. So if I have a horn, when I push the button, you see it's blue. That means I'm blowing the horn. Let off, horn off. Push, horn, off. So blue is momentary. So let me get the book out and we'll go over the colors. But hopefully I've kind of showed what each one of them do, how you set them, and power on and off. Okay, so I have the manual out. You can see the wiring diagram. To turn off the backlight, you long press for 3 seconds on the long press the on off button for 3 seconds to turn off the backlight. To reactivate backlight, simply press any button. Short press any button. With 4 color backlight, each represents different modes, making operation clear and easy. So red is toggle, on off. Blue is momentary, to activate a device only when the button's held. Purple is flash, flashing at a slower speed like a turning signal. And then green is strobe, so strobe like a warning light, which is what I had my rear lights on. It was flashing pretty fast. So let's try setting the rear lights 1, 2, 3 to purple. Save. Now they should be flashing slower, so let's go see. So purple is a slow flash and the blue was a fast strobing flash. Okay, so everything is on. I'm going to set the rear lights. Okay, they're all ready for green. They'll blink. So now when I turn them on, they're going to be flashing. strobe. And we'll turn them off. Reset them to on off. So it'll be red. And we'll save that right there. Everything's good. But if you're driving at night and those lights are just the backlights messing with you, you can just hold that for 3 seconds and the backlight goes off. Okay, blue is momentary. So when I push the button, it comes on. When I let go of the button, it goes off. And then let's reset it. Let's go to purple. Save it. Now let's turn it on and see what happens. It blinks. I'm going to go to on off. Red. And then we'll save it. That's where I want everything to be. So we're done. I'm going to turn it off. It's just that simple. I mean, that's what I like about this compared to the other one I have. And as you can see, I turn that on and the whole system comes on. You don't have to hit the power button. Turn it off. Say, I can feel the buttons because they're big and you can just feel them. Second one, this is my rear lights. When I push those, they're on right now. Now they're off. So you don't even have to use the power button. If you remember what you said, you can feel and push the button and they'll come on and off. Alright, so in review, we have our button display mounted in the Jeep Compass Trailhawk. The wire runs through the center console, underneath the glove box, out the plug that's in between the door and the fender, up through the fender and into the engine compartment. All my lights, wires, and switch wires and stuff all come through the fender, run underneath this shroud, and to the batteries. This is the MICTUNING Make It Cool panel, switch panel, control box. And this is your 60 amp breaker. Hot wire going to the breaker, hot wire coming out of the breaker to the box. Ground coming from the battery post, negative battery post, to the ground inside the box. This is going to the switch panel inside. This is your AC switched power going to the fuse box with the fuse link, and you can also make this just straight battery power. When you're testing stuff, you can switch it over to the battery power and you don't have to worry about getting inside your vehicle, turning the switch on to check stuff. But we're back to AC power. Let's see, AC power is this way. I'm sorry, AC power that way. Battery power is that way. So AC power. Now we have no power until the switch is turned on, so nothing's live here. And then these are the wires going to the accessories, the lights. This is my roll bar, this is my rear reverse lights. Not the red goes here to both lights. That's your switch hot and your ground. Switched hot, I don't need a ground here because it's grounded to the body.